There is something about the INFJ energy that feels both magnetic and puzzling, like a song you can't quite place but that stays in your head all day. People often sense it before they understand it. It's an aura that draws others in, even strangers, without the INFJ having to say much. This weird energy is not about loudness or attention-seeking. It's the quiet, steady hum of a mind that is always watching, always feeling, always connecting dots others don't even know exist. It can make them seem mysterious, almost otherworldly, because they radiate a depth that most people only experience in fleeting moments. Their presence often feels calm on the surface, but there's an undercurrent of intensity that you can't ignore. When you're around them, you may feel seen in a way that is both comforting and unsettling. This is because the INFJ's mind is constantly scanning, reading emotional patterns, and understanding unspoken truths. They can look into someone's eyes and almost instantly sense what's hidden behind the smile, the posture, or the casual words. It's not magic. It's an intuitive perception that runs so deep it can feel supernatural. This is part of what makes their energy weird to those who live more on the surface. If you're an INFJ, ensure to check out our INFJ Playbook kit. The link is in the description of this video. There's also a paradox in how INFJs carry themselves. They may be warm and inviting, yet they hold a part of themselves back, tucked away in a place few will ever reach. It's a self-protection born from years of being misunderstood, because their insights and emotions often don't match the speed or depth of the world around them. People may feel they know the INFJ well, yet realize later that there's still an entire ocean left unseen. This duality, openness wrapped around secrecy, creates a kind of magnetism that feels both alluring and impossible to fully grasp. INFJs often have a subtle but powerful emotional frequency. They can shift the tone of a room without trying, simply by how they carry their inner state. When they are grounded, their presence can soothe anxiety and create an almost sacred atmosphere. When they are troubled, even without speaking, the people around them might feel a subtle heaviness in the air. It's the unspoken influence of someone who lives deeply connected to their own emotions and the emotional currents of others. This sensitivity can make them seem almost in tune with invisible rhythms the rest of the world ignores. What makes this energy even stranger is how it blends empathy with an almost prophetic foresight. INFJs often sense where things are headed long before they unfold. They pick up on small, easily overlooked cues, a shift in someone's tone, a glance, an inconsistency in words and actions, and their minds connect these threads into a clear picture of what's to come. This ability can make others feel as though the INFJ can read the future, which adds to their enigmatic aura. Their weird energy also stems from how they balance contradictions within themselves. They are dreamers with practical instincts, idealists who can be incredibly strategic, deeply compassionate, yet fiercely protective of their boundaries. This mix can confuse people who try to categorize them, because INFJs don't fit neatly into any box. One moment they're offering soul-deep conversations, the next they're retreating into solitude without explanation. This unpredictability can make them feel almost untouchable, like a star you can see but never hold. Even in silence, INFJs radiate a quiet signal that says they are more than they appear. It's not arrogance. It's the unshakable awareness of their own inner world, a realm filled with meaning, vision, and patterns most people overlook. They carry this energy everywhere, and it lingers even after they leave a room, leaving people wondering why they feel changed, or why they can't stop thinking about that quiet one in the corner, who seemed to know so much without ever saying aloud. INFJ energy has a way of bending the atmosphere around them, as if the world slightly shifts to accommodate their wavelength. People often can't pinpoint why they feel different in an INFJ's presence, but it's in the small, almost invisible ways the INFJ interacts with reality. They notice details others skim over, like the flicker in someone's eyes when they're holding back tears, the hesitation in a voice that betrays doubt, or the way two people across a room exchange glances charged with unspoken history. These observations are rarely announced, but they shape how the INFJ moves, speaks, and responds, creating an uncanny sense that they just know. Their energy can be both soft and commanding at the same time. They rarely demand attention, yet people instinctively pay attention to them. This is because their words are not thrown carelessly into the air. They are deliberate, weighed, and chosen with a precision that makes them linger in the listener's mind. Even when they speak casually, there's often a hidden layer, a subtle thread of wisdom or empathy that makes people replay the conversation later and realize it meant more than they first thought. There's also a kind of timelessness in the way INFJs carry themselves. They can be sitting quietly in a crowded place and still feel like they're slightly removed from it, as if they're half in another dimension. Their minds are constantly wandering between the present moment and the bigger picture, past experiences, possible futures, deeper meanings. This ability to mentally step outside of a situation while still being fully present gives their energy a layer quality, like there's always more going on behind the curtain. INFJs also project an authenticity that can't be faked. When they engage with someone, it's not out of obligation or performance. It's because they truly care or they truly see value in the connection. This sincerity is so rare that it can make people feel almost disarmed, unsure of how to respond to such undiluted attention. At the same time, the INFJ's authenticity can feel intimidating because it silently calls others to be more honest with themselves. Yet this strange, almost magical energy is not always easy for the INFJ to carry. Their sensitivity means they absorb not just the beauty of the world, but also its harshness, dishonesty, and pain. They feel things in high definition, and this depth can make them retreat, disappearing from the world for periods of time to recharge. When they return, it's as if they've gathered more wisdom from the silence, their presence even more concentrated than before. This energy is not just something INFJs have. It is who they are, a living frequency that can't be imitated or contained. It is why people remember them long after they are gone, and why their presence feels like something rare, perhaps even sacred, in a world that so often rushes past the things that matter most. There's an unmistakable depth in the INFJ eyes, like they're seeing the current version of you and every version you've ever been all at once. It's not just about perception. It's a quiet, unspoken empathy that can be startling in its accuracy. Some find this magnetic. Others find it unnerving, because it's hard to hide behind facades when someone is looking at you like that. It's not judgment they carry, but clarity, an ability to see people as they truly are, not as they present themselves. What makes their energy even stranger is how it carries a touch of the unseen. There's often an air of old soul wisdom about them, as though they've lived 1,000 lives before this one and remember fragments of them. It shows in how they speak, sometimes poetic, sometimes cryptic, sometimes piercingly direct, and in how they navigate relationships. They can anticipate emotional shifts before anyone else notices them, subtly steering situations toward resolution or harmony, often without being credited for it. This energy also carries contradictions that are hard to reconcile. They crave connection, yet they guard their inner world with an intensity that keeps most people at arm's length. They can be the warmest person in the room, yet still feel like an enigma no one can fully unravel. They are deeply compassionate, but also capable of cutting ties without hesitation when a boundary is crossed. This duality creates a kind of unpredictability, not in a chaotic sense, but in a way that makes people aware they can't take an INFJ for granted. Even their silence has weight. An INFJ can sit in a room, say nothing, and still influence the emotional temperature. Their stillness isn't emptiness. It's a deliberate, observing presence, like a lighthouse scanning the horizon. People might feel inexplicably drawn to break that silence, to fill it with words, not realizing that the INFJ is learning more in those quiet moments than they ever could from conversation alone. If you're an INFJ, ensure to check out our INFJ Playbook kit. The link is in the description of this video. INFJ energy can feel like a soft storm, quiet on the outside, but carrying immense power beneath the surface. It doesn't rush toward you or demand to be noticed, yet once you're in its presence, it's impossible to ignore. There's an unexplainable pull, as if something in their aura reaches out and brushes against yours, gently but with purpose. You might not realize it immediately, but you start feeling more aware, more reflective, as though their energy has tuned you to a deeper frequency, without you even consenting to it. Part of the strangeness lies in the way they hold contradictions so effortlessly. They can make you feel completely at ease while also making you slightly restless, because being around them makes you more aware of your own truths, the ones you might avoid in your day-to-day life. They don't force you to confront these truths. It's something in their gaze or their silence has a way of pulling them to the surface. You might walk away from an INFJ conversation feeling lighter, or you might feel unsettled for days, unable to shake the feeling that they saw something in you that you've never fully faced. Their energy is also shaped by an almost supernatural sensitivity to what lies beneath the surface of situations. In a group, they notice the subtle shift in atmosphere when tension enters the room. They can sense when someone's smile is more of a mask than a reflection of joy, or when laughter is hiding fatigue. They read these currents the way others read road signs, and without announcing it, they adjust their presence accordingly, offering comfort, redirecting attention, or withdrawing if the energy becomes too heavy. This responsiveness can make them seem almost like emotional shapeshifters, blending into the needs of the moment without losing themselves. INFJs carry the weight of invisible stories. They remember small details about people, things said in passing, expressions that lasted only a second, and they keep these pieces filed away, not to use against anyone, but to understand them more completely. It can feel uncanny when, months later, they recall something you forgot you even told them, weaving it into a conversation in a way that makes you feel both remembered and seen. That's part of the magic and the weirdness. They notice you in ways you didn't even realize you could be noticed. There's also an almost cinematic quality to the way INFJs move through life. They tend to notice beauty where others see nothing special. The way light falls across a table, the sound of distant rain, the quiet resilience in someone's eyes. This subtle appreciation for moments gives their presence a kind of richness, as if they're always carrying a secret landscape inside them. When they choose to share it, even in small doses, it can feel like being invited into another world. And then there's the mystery, the part of their energy that will always remain just out of reach. No matter how close you get to an INFJ, there will always be rooms in their mind that are locked, places in their soul they keep entirely to themselves. This isn't because they're withholding for the sake of it, but because some parts of them are too sacred to be put into words or shared lightly. This unspoken boundary only adds to the strange gravity of their presence. Being in the presence of an INFJ can feel like standing at the edge of something vast and uncharted, a place you can sense but not fully see. There's a spiritual weight to their energy, as if a part of them belongs to a different plane entirely. It's not that they walk around acting mystical or otherworldly. It's that their very being carries echoes of something deeper, something older, as though they've been here before and are quietly carrying the wisdom of lifetimes. You feel it in the pauses between their words, in the way they look at you, not scanning the surface, but gazing into the layers beneath your defenses, the parts you barely understand yourself. There is a subtle magic in how INFJs navigate conversations. They can take the most ordinary topic and somehow reveal its hidden beauty or deeper meaning. A casual remark becomes a doorway into a conversation that makes you rethink your own life. They don't do this by lecturing or pushing ideas. Instead, they plant seeds, small, almost invisible truths that quietly grow in your mind long after they've moved on. This is part of why their energy lingers. Even in absence, they continue to affect the emotional landscape of the people they've touched. Their emotional intuition is a living, breathing thing. They don't just pick up on moods. They absorb them, hold them, and sometimes transform them. You might walk into a space carrying frustration or sadness, and without them even addressing it directly, you leave feeling lighter, as though something heavy was quietly lifted. Other times, they reflect your emotions back to you so clearly that you can no longer ignore them, forcing you into honesty with yourself. This can be both healing and unsettling, because it confronts you with truths you may not be ready to face. The strangeness of INFJ energy also lies in its dual nature, how it can feel soft and safe one moment, and sharp and penetrating the next. They can wrap you in a sense of safety, making you feel like you're in the presence of someone who would protect you without hesitation. But they can also pierce through illusions with startling clarity, their words landing like an arrow in the center of what you were trying to avoid. This ability to hold love and truth in the same breath makes them unforgettable, and sometimes even a little intimidating. Their weird energy is not the kind that can be measured, explained, or replicated. It is an alchemy of deep empathy, razor-sharp intuition, inner vision, and soul-level sincerity. It's the way they can touch someone without laying a hand on them, change the course of a conversation without raising their voice, and leave people remembering them years later without understanding why. It's an energy that doesn't just exist, it transforms. They move through the world with a kind of grace that isn't about elegance in the traditional sense, but about an unspoken alignment between their inner and outer selves. Every glance, every gesture, every choice of words is quietly intentional, as though they are in constant conversation with something beyond the visible world. This makes their presence feel layered. What you see is only the surface of something far deeper. Their weird energy often reveals itself in the way INFJs listen. They don't just hear your words, they feel the story inside them. They sense the unsaid, the contradictions, the longings you've never voiced. When they respond, it's as though they're speaking to both the person you are and the person you're becoming. This dual focus can leave you feeling both profoundly seen and slightly exposed, as if they've peered past your carefully crafted defenses and found the truth you keep hidden. Even their empathy feels different from what most people call compassion. For the INFJ, empathy is not just understanding, it's experiencing. They can carry someone else's joy or pain as if it were their own, which is why their presence often feels heavier, denser, more grounded. There's a quiet wisdom in the way they hold emotions, neither rushing to fix them nor shying away from their weight. It's a kind of acceptance that says, I see you exactly as you are, and you don't need to be anything else right now. Their energy lingers in memory, like a haunting melody. You may forget the exact words they spoke, but you won't forget how they made you feel. You won't forget the sense that, for a brief moment, you stood in a space where life felt sharper and more meaningful. This is the strange gift of the INFJ. They're not just people, they are experiences, and once you've encountered them, you hardly forget them. If you're an INFJ, ensure to check out our INFJ Playbook kit. The link is in the description of this video.